Welcome back to Everlasting Summer Part 57, I believe. I seriously, I forgot to check. God damn it. Where we last left off, we were walking with the girls and Yulia appeared and yeah, so should be interesting. I'm curious to see. This might be the last, well, not the last one. This might be, we might get into one ending today. Possibly. I started yelling, gritting my teeth, sparks probably flying from my eyes. Enough is enough. I've had it with the damned uncertainty. Either you explain what is happening here, or I won't move an inch from here. Kill me if you want. I don't care. You think I can put up with anything? That I would pretend that there is nothing happening and I understand nothing, regardless of what you do? I don't care. Everything has a limit. I finished my speech more calmly, having lost my breath from yelling. The blood hammered in my temples. The world became darker for one moment. Then the next it painted itself with unimaginable colors. Someone's on the drugs. The girls looked at me with surprise, and even with fear. Yulia stopped hissing and again looked indifferent to everything around her. Alright, of course, now I start recording and my cat comes to bug me. It's just classic. Wouldn't be the same. Alright. I declared and started to walk along the road in the direction of the city, which moved a step further away for every step I took. No one followed me. The sun started setting beyond the horizon in the city, still visible in the east, was little by little being... The sun was started setting beyond the horizon, and the city, still visible in the east, was little by little being absorbed by mist. Couldn't tell where it is really located, because the fields ahead were disrupted by forests, but its buildings still rose above them as the central element of the diorama. It's actually a pretty cool sunset. The city stood mute, as if hovering over the world, looking down with silent reproach at my trivial attempts to reach it. According to my calculations, I'd walked much more than 2 or 3 kilometers, which was a theoretical distance to the city. I stopped to rest in the shade a couple of minutes, and the evening coolness became my savior. However, there could be no city at all, and I'm just running like a hamster in a wheel, feeling the exhaustion from the distance I covered, but with my destination somewhere outside the cage. I remembered yesterday's thoughts, but the key hanging right under the ceiling. It would certainly be useful to me now. Maybe there are no answers at all. I'm too tired to even think about it. Plus that enraged outburst with the girls. Screw it. I sat down on the side of the road, raising a little dust storm from the ground, which covered me and made me cough. Tears filled my eyes. When I opened them again, Yulia stood before me. There seemed to be adventure. Why do I even try? There seemed to be advantages to being a cat. You move much faster than humans. Where are you going? She asked, paying no attention to my words. I'm going right there. I waved a hand in the direction of the city. But why? Where are the others? They went back to the camp. I see. So, why are you going there? Because. I got lost in thought. What else is there to do? What will happen if I just sit here? Nothing. That's what I mean. Yulia looked at me intently and sat beside me. I would like to help, she suddenly said in a quiet voice. Then help. I don't know how. Tell me about that city, about this world. Why am I here? How do I get back? I don't know. Well, I mean, it's always been like that. You come to the camp in a bus, spend a week here, and then, regardless of the outcome, everything repeats. And there are many of you. They're all different. This reminds me a lot of what Semyon's route taught me. What do you mean, different? Not like you. You're the only one like this. That's why I can talk to you, and the others just don't understand. What don't they understand? They disappear sometimes. Yulia kept talking, ignoring my question. That's the way things should be. I have no idea why, but they should. They do not return here after 7 days. But then new ones come, and... Blech, I can't do her voice for long. It's not good for my voice. But the new ones come, who are just like the previous ones. Everyone is the same in the beginning. Almost the same. The differences come after some time, especially when they have understood that everything should repeat itself again and again. Like a video game, repeating itself, doing different endings. Does that mean I'm destined to walk in circles too? I don't know. This time it's different. Why does it all happen? Who are those others? She looked at me... Huh? She looked at me uncomprehendingly. But they're you. What do you mean, me? You and all those others. She groused, trying to find the right words. You all are the same. So are they clones of me or something? What are clones? Copies. Like 2 identical mushrooms you prepare for the winter. There are no 2 identical mushrooms, Yulia said seriously. Imagine that there are. Identical mushrooms. Maybe. I don't know. God, this is a nightmare. Put my head on my knees and closed my eyes. We sat in silence for several minutes. I really wanted to understand what was on Yulia's mind. After all, even if she knows nothing, then she should at least have some thoughts about the things that are happening. I noticed it's rained, because there's reflections of things in the ground, right? And water. When did it rain? Okay, what should I do? I asked in a serious tone. She looked at me uncomprehendingly again. What would you advise me to do? I don't know. What would you do in my place? Me? In your place? But that would never happen. Yulia laughed loudly. You are you, and I am me. Just imagine it. You have your mind. You have your mind. Then you should have an imagination. Well, I wouldn't change anything. Why not? Because it is the way of things. It's better and less troubling this way. So, is it less troubling to sit in this camp and wait for the endless repetitions? Ooh. Yes. I couldn't agree with that. I just couldn't. As long as it's in my power to change something, or even just to try to, I have to act. I rose up from the ground and marched forward towards the distant city, visible in the crimson rays of the faraway sunset. Wow, that's actually a pretty cool sightline. Is that a lighthouse? The road took a sudden turn at last. The buildings, which were just rising above the trees before, disappeared from my sight, and the country landscape in front of me was replaced by industrial suburbs. It was dark already. Scattered bright stars filled the sky, still visible from where I stood, but disappearing above the city, which was full of distant lights from windows and street lamps. A silent, dark night reigned behind me, interrupted only by the warbling of a sleepy night bird, the rustle of grass, and the monotonous buzzing of insects, while in front of me there was a human anthill, which couldn't stop talking even for a minute, happily winking with thousands of lights and shouting with millions of voices. I was about to say, I thought I heard thunder. The road I walked seemed stranger. It was empty, as if deserted, used by neither cars nor people. Like a narrow path, leading away from this world into another one. Yulia walked in silence beside me all this time. Why are you here? I asked quietly. I have to be with you. Why? Strange. The city always... Spirit? No. Down. Down. If you saw my mouse cursor crossing across the screen there, It's because I have a wireless mouse also hooked up to my computer. My cat was sitting on top of it. It's strange. The city was always on the right side, and now it's in front of us. She ignored my question. Not much stranger than everything else. I've walked about 10 or 20 kilometers, and it's still so far away. Far away? We may never reach it. Pauses like that. Rest for drinks. I stopped and tried to imagine what awaits me there. Is that city similar to my home one? What is its architecture like? Who lives there? And why did I come to a conclusion that there are any people there? That this isn't just an illusion, one of the lame tricks of this sick world. Even Yulia says that she's seeing all this for the first time. Suddenly, the walkie-talkie I still had with me made a nasty sound, and the agitated voice of Olga said, "Semyon, do you copy? Semyon." After a moment, I pushed the button and answered, "Yes." "Semyon, so much is happening. Come back at once." It's not her voice. What? What is it? What happened? I asked without much interest. Camp leader, the pioneers, the whole camp was left far behind. Not just a dozen kilometers, but much further. Everything that happened in the past few days lost any meaning, like a nightmare you start to forget. Now, when there was a real world in front of me, I had no other choice but to believe that when I reach that city, everything will end. "Semyon, hurry! There's no time to explain. It's a disaster." The static grew stronger, drowning out the camp leader's voice. "Will you go?" Wait, isn't that like the question you get asked at the beginning? Yulia asked, agitated. "Where? Back there? No, why would I?" "But, you want me to go back?" "I don't know. What do you want?" "Really, what do I want?" "To get to that city, what I've been doing the whole day, or something more global, to escape from this world. I feel the choice coming up. I wonder if something bad actually happened back there." That thought sent a flash of pain in my head. Something happened to Slavia, to Lena, to Uliana, even to Elisa. And why is the question, "why would I care?" not bothering me now? But yes, I do care. I got so much closer with them recently. I had really got used to the life of the camp. But what will happen to the city? Would it disappear as suddenly as it appeared? And what if everything went the way Yulia described? No, I should not allow it. The walkie-talkie hissed, but I didn't want to turn it off, in case I heard something again. "So, what have you decided?" I had to make a decision. Alright, here's our decision. We're saving. I'm gonna put this one here so I know... I've used up every save slot, by the way. I really should like clear these out, but oh well. So this, I have to remember, this one is for the choice. Made at 3:33 a.m. Is that seriously the time? Oh my lord. Alright. So, keep going is, it says, is harem end. I think I'm going to leave that one for last, because go back is Yulia's end. But it's not spelled Yulia, not like Y-U-L-Y-A, it's Y-U-L-I-A. But I think that's just a typo. So, we're going to go back the first time. Okay. I forced myself to speak. What? Yulia was surprised. Okay, let's go back. Weren't you expecting this answer? She smiled cunningly. No, why do you think that? Because you always say that everything repeats itself after 7 days, and I can't get out of here. So, we'll check it out. Oh, check it out? Shouldn't we check out that city for starters? It's up to you to decide. I looked at her intently. Something seemed to have changed in Yulia, but I couldn't understand what it was exactly. I've already decided, I mumbled. Then we should go. The cat girl made her way across the field in the direction of the forest with confidence. Hey, wait, where are you going? It'll take less time. Less time? The thought started spinning in my head furiously, merging into one, which probably wouldn't be a pleasant one. So all this time, I caught up with her in 2 strides and grabbed her tail. Don't grab her tail, it's rude. Did you know all this time that I could go straight here without wandering for the whole day? No, not the tentacle Yulia again. Yulia hissed furiously and bared her teeth. Not barred, bared her teeth. I let go of her tail. No. I mean, I might have known, but you have nothing to do there. Spirit, can you stop bugging me for like 10 minutes? Seriously. 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 In that city? Yes. Why? I don't know. It shouldn't be that way. It's not right. I can't explain. I just know. I turned around and looked at the distant lights. I wonder, could things get any worse? It's not that everything is really bad right now, but what if that city doesn't disappear? And what's happening at the camp? What do Olga's words mean? Should I still hesitate if I have already decided what to do? Alright, let's go. We walked through the forest almost all the way, crossing forest edges and fields just a few times. Yulia seemed extremely satisfied with something. Would you explain what is happening to you? Everything's just so unusual. I have to do something really quickly. Just sorry, my cat needs me. I'll be back in like a second. I told you I wouldn't be long. I just needed to open the window for her. Everything's just so unusual. Because it was not like this before. Everything repeated itself after 7 days. Yeah, I've heard it already. She just smiled and returned. I wonder what happened back at the camp. Look! Camp gates were visible in the distance, beyond the trees. We started to walk faster. It was clear that something was wrong. Semyon seemed abandoned. I could assume that pioneers went to bed, but there were no lights except the street lamps. And why isn't Olga waiting for us there with the biohazard squad? She said on the radio that something happened. A strange anxiety had overwhelmed me at once. I looked at Genda, and there... The city! There's no city! Yulia seemed to be surprised too. Surprised for real. So I didn't jump at her with questions. Having reached the camp leader's cabin, I stopped for a moment in hesitation. Images of possible events flashed before my eyes. However, I quickly pulled myself together. This is just some nonsense. There's nothing to support the idea of this science fiction story turning into a bloody thriller. I determinedly pulled the door handle and entered the cabin. No one was inside. Well, no point in staying here then. I rushed to the cabin of Ilyana and Elisa. How did I know this is their cabin, though? I've never been here. This route. Also, why is there like a fucking owl or some shit in the window? It's kind of creepy. Without dwelling on my thoughts, I knocked on the door. I mean, I was dwelling on my thoughts. But only silence responded. I walked around the cabin and looked in the window. It was empty. Well, that doesn't mean anything. They might have gone somewhere. I ran to the canteen. Maybe everyone decided to have a late dinner. However, the door was locked. I went back to the square and dropped onto a bench, exhausted. Enough running, maybe? Yulia, who had followed me in silence, asked without much interest. Well, true. Why did I start panicking? Though, what if something actually had happened? Well, I'm hungry. I'll go look for something to eat. I didn't object, and in a moment, Yulia silently disappeared in the night. It's either some stupid prank, which was hard to believe, or everyone really has disappeared somewhere. The event itself isn't any stranger than my arrival here, or that mysterious city which showed up and then vanished, but I'd gotten used to this camp and its inhabitants, and now, such a twist. I'd more or less adapted to my new circumstances, and now something happens again. I cursed and covered my face with my hands. I would probably have sat like that for several minutes until tears started to flow, but my eardrums were almost broken by a loud noise. Whoa! What was that? It sounded like a thunderclap. But where did it come from? There wasn't a cloud in the sky. What the shit, guy? Get out of here. I opened my eyes and saw someone in front of me. Can I have a single route without Semyon fucking showing up? I'm just getting a little annoyed at this guy from when I tried to do Alina's route 3 times in a row and got Semyon's route. You, I uttered, stammering. A thunderstorm rumbled in the clear sky, the lightning flashes obscuring the face of the man standing before me. Why the sad face, Semyon? Who are you? I shouted. I understand why you had to get Semyon's route before you get Yulia's route. Calm down. You don't have to get so tense. Nervous cells don't regenerate, you know. What? My first thought was to run, but my body didn't respond to that idea. The lightning was still flashing brightly, and there was no chance to see the pioneer's face clearly. However, I was sure that I had heard that voice before. Who are you? I asked in a quieter tone. Perhaps you have more appropriate questions. Where has everyone disappeared to? They've played their parts, and we don't need them anymore. Parts? What parts? Their parts. And what about the city? What city? I wasn't sure whether I caught a trace of surprise in his voice, or I was just hearing things. The city, there. I waved my hand in the direction of Genda. Ah, you're talking about... He went silent for a moment. It's your fault. I don't understand. It's because you don't try hard enough. The pioneer raised his voice. You just need to think. Just think. How long have you been here? 5 days? 6? Or 26? 6, probably. 6? Why 6? Are you sure about 6? Why are you sure? Because you counted the number of dusks and dawns? Or because you looked at the date on your mobile phone? I don't know. The pioneer before me lost his temper. I had no clue what he was talking about. 6. Okay, let it be 6. He said calmly. And haven't you been here before? No? Are you sure about that too? I don't know. And what if I say that you've been here before? I had absolutely no idea how to react to his words. Something was happening to me, like on the first day here. Something inexplicable, terrifying, and maybe dangerous. But I don't remember. Why do you have to remember? He fell silent, seemed lost in thought. However, you really don't remember. What? I expected that sentence to continue. However, you really don't remember. Well, I'll tell you then. That's not how a sentence works, but okay. I could hardly hear his words through the sound of thunder. My eyes were getting teary because of the lightning flashes. Yeah, it keeps fucking happening. Make it stop. Stop. But I was afraid to even blink and give this pioneer a chance to disappear. He might really tell me how I turned up here. This is not the first time you've been here. I don't know how many laps you've had, but it doesn't matter. But why? I don't remember anything. You should not remember. You should not. He shouted. Sorry. I decided not to interrupt him. Yes, it is not your first time here, he continued in a calmer voice. But this time is special. It will be the last one for you. I couldn't understand what his definition of the word last was. Will I get out from here and return to my normal life? Or does it mean that I'll die here? Well, that's only my opinion. He went silent for a long time. I decided to ask a question at last. How do you know all this? How? Let's say I'm your brother in misfortune, and... An explosion sounded nearby. It seemed like lightning struck a tree just a dozen meters away from me. I instinctively covered my head with my hands and fell beneath the bench. I don't know how long I was lying there, but by the time I had slightly recovered from the shock, the thunderclaps had stopped. I opened my eyes. Yulia was standing there where the pioneer had been standing before. Is she the pioneer? Because they both know what's up. Except she's nicer. So, you met your colleague. She smiled and offered me a hand. Maybe not. Shocked, I didn't know what to do and kept lying down. How long are you planning to stay there? I stood up with difficulty. Who was that? If I have to choose the lesser evil, then I would rather trust Yulia than that mysterious pioneer. Me and you both. Well, how should I put it? She got lost in thought. You know, you are not the only one. To be precise, you're the only one here, but there are more of the same camp. Lots of them. And there are more of the same you. A lot of them, too. I didn't understand anything. Some of them can appear in... That was bad. Just, no. Some of them can appear in other places, like this pioneer, for example. So you knew all that, but didn't tell me? You didn't ask. She shrugged her shoulders. Should I be afraid of him? I don't think you should. Although, should I or should I not? My anxiety grew. I doubt that he can take a physical form. But you should be careful with him. I had received so much information at once that I would need more than a week to comprehend it all. Though, keeping all that in mind, I understood that this information doesn't explain anything at all. So there are lots of people like me. Yes. But how do we, get here? I don't have an exact answer for that question. I just know that it is you who came here. Just one person came here, to be more precise. Yulia now looked nothing like that strange girl with animal ears who was sprinkling sugar on mushrooms. She was the exact opposite. There was confidence in her eyes, and even some arrogance, and no sign of her earlier, no sign of her earlier childish infantilism. Who are you then? Me? Yes. Honestly, I have no idea. I stared at her with an open mouth. How's that? You have no idea? The only thing I remember is that I was here. I don't remember anything else. Like, there was nothing else. I must watch you, all of you, and I exist in all the camps simultaneously. After recovering from my shock, I continued. And you don't know who you are? Bingo! She laughed. But that's impossible. Well, I would understand amnesia, but all-powerful beings can't have it. And who told you that I'm all-powerful? Are you not? Actually, I'm capable of nothing. I can't interfere with the natural flow of events. But didn't you know, or see? I know a bit of something. I saw a bit of something. And what will? Well, you know. I had no idea how to put the question. Nothing. Usually 7 days pass, and one of you leaves the camp. I would even say disappears. Then a new one comes and everything repeats. The number of camps is constant. We spoke about this before. Disappears where? I don't know. It can't be possible. You told me so much, and... Do you think that I'm hiding something from you? No, I said, exhausted. I guess I shouldn't doubt her words. At least for now. Maybe they don't disappear, they just go for another lap. I can't rule out that possibility, but I don't think they do. And what is happening to me now, then? What's happening to me now, then? I read that horribly. I can't explain this either, but I know for sure that this was meant to happen. And there's something unusual. The course of events is different this time. Pioneer spoke about it too. He might know more than me. But how should I understand all of this? I sighed deeply and covered my head with my hands. I think we will find out very soon. Okay, but finally, who are you then? Yulia pouted her lips. Semyon. I told you before. So, do you have memory loss then? No. She thought for a moment. I don't have a memory at all, probably. There was no me before this camp. I didn't exist. But I didn't finish the sentence. Taking into account everything that happens here, there was a lot I could only make assumptions about. And that means I should not be surprised by a girl with animal ears. Are you something like an observer here? Probably. I think that word is the most appropriate. And what about all the inhabitants disappearing after playing their parts? What are you talking about? The pioneer said that. Parts. She moved her ears in a funny way, making me smile. There's something to it, but only you are real here. I mean, you, that pioneer, and all the other ones. How's that? I told you, I don't know. You can assume that I appeared here with a limited amount of knowledge, nothing more. There are things that I'm not sure about, and there are things that I know no more about than you. Fine. On one hand, her words seemed logical enough. If you can even talk about logic in such a situation. And what do you suggest to do next? End the episode? That was horrible. Thank you all so much for watching. This is actually the end because we're out of time. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.